Hello. How are you all this evening? Thank you for joining me. I can't see who I have with me, so please feel free to comment and I will be able to see who is here. Well, a little bit about me. My name is Sarah FARDY. Fardy Facts comes from my last name, Fardy. And I am a viral immunologist. And that doesn't mean I've gone viral. That just means that I study viruses, and I have for the last 15 years. So I began starting my virus research at CSIRO in Geelong at the Australian Animal Health Laboratories. And I studied H5N1, avian influenza, at the time when it was a pandemic. And my project was to understand the pathology of this virus, how it infects, how we can develop therapeutics to assist in ameliorating the disease. So that just means to make less severe the disease, and develop potential therapeutics for H5N1. So that puts me in a pretty good position in understanding viruses and pandemics. And one of the major things that I studied was cytokine storm. And the cytokine storm is the end product of a viral infection. So once the virus enters the system and it becomes systemic, which means that there's viral replication in all parts of your body and all organs, the virus gets to a point where it stops replicating, or the replication is slightly suppressed as the immune system takes over. And then you have an increase of pro-inflammatory products in your body. These things are called cytokines. And this immune response to viruses becomes exaggerated. And then your organs begin to fail. And the last part of failure in that disease pathology is pneumonia. So your lungs fill up with fluids and you can no longer breathe. That's what we're facing with COVID-19. And anyone who has an underlying health issue is at risk of developing these pneumonia-like symptoms because their immune system is already busy doing something else. So that's where I come in my understanding, and that's how I can help you guys to understand COVID-19. So do you have any questions? Please write in the comments. I don't think I can see them. Hang on, let me see. 4 comments. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Jody Cobbin. Hey, Sarah, love what you're doing. I am not saving the world, but thank you. Hi. 4 comments. Where are they? Keep writing comments so I can see them. I think they're taking a little while to pop up. That's okay. I've been having some tough conversations with my family this past 7 weeks. How about you guys? I'd love to hear your thoughts. School, hot topic. Hey, Soph. Cool. All right, let's talk about school. Now, what is the government telling us about schools? They're telling us that children don't appear, thank you. They're telling us that children don't appear to be suffering from this illness, which is true for a couple of reasons. So children have an underdeveloped immune system in the particular pathway that is required by the COVID-19 virus. So all throughout our body, we have this protein receptor, and its name is ACE2. And it's in our heart, it's in our lungs, and it's in all the muscles of our body. And for a smart reason, the virus has selected this receptor as the one that it's going to target. So the virus is targeting this receptor and then using our body's own immune system to replicate itself. I'll leave it at that for there. But what this means in terms of kids is that they have an underdeveloped immune system and they don't express the ACE2 like we do. So we have less severe cases of the virus in children. So for this reason, the government is, they're using this as the reason to keep schools open right now. It's true, kids aren't infected as readily, but the fact that the schools are open is not complying with social distancing, and as an essential service, it is not. And the health and welfare of the teachers and those students and their families is actually above what the government is saying. So I think schools need to close. I think schools should have closed 2 weeks ago. But that's all we can say. That's it. Next question. I would like to know how people are recovering and their long-term prognosis. People are recovering. We're seeing virus infection, virus replication for the first 7 days. And then at day 7, viral replication is slowing. We don't have any evidence that it stops, but the immune system takes over. And then if you're in a position where you have a healthy immune system, you can recover. And then if you don't have an immune system that can recover, then you have the critical care situations. Long-term prognosis, we don't know anything about reinfections or whether the initial immune response is giving us enough protection from a secondary infection. Okay. Diane, what should we be doing? Stay home and social distance. Do you believe this will continue for a few months? Well, Carmen, yes. 2 weeks ago, my boss said to me that this will likely continue for 12 to 18 months, and that will be the impact to businesses. We haven't even hit our flu season yet. So flu season brings another epidemic of illnesses to the Southern Hemisphere. And if we have a situation where we have circulating flu and circulating COVID-19, yeah, we'll see some significant repercussions from that. So 12 to 18 months, I think we're going to be seeing this for. Schools, why are they open still? We covered that, M. Jane, school and childcare. It's a tough one. If you can, keep the kids at home. It won't be long until the schools will close and the childcares will close. So you have the ability to have them at home now, have them at home now. Britt, hey, what was the likelihood of contracting if you cannot trace contact with a known sufferer? Well, 4 out of the 5 cases in Wuhan did not know if the person that gave it to them was COVID positive or not. So it's very infectious. It's likely you won't know whether you've infected it, whether you've contacted it from someone that is a COVID positive or not. Does that make sense? Would you send your child to school? 2 weeks ago, I would have sent my child to school. We're finding out more and more about this virus and the rate of spread and the impacts on the wider community. So no, I would not send my child to school. Hey, Lockie, question for you. Would COVID-19 manifest in this flu season for us? We're just at the start of the flu season here in Oz. Is it possible that you could change or alter, develop through our winter? Absolutely. Viruses tend to change as the seasons change, and that's why we have to have a influenza vaccine yearly, because it's changed from the year before. So we are getting this virus from the Northern Hemisphere. It's coming to the Southern Hemisphere now. Then we're about to get our flu season. So it's likely as it travels back through the Northern Hemisphere and back again, we'll see this again in a changed form. Viruses tend to change when there is immunity or it can't infect a new host readily. So this is not going to be the first time we ever see this kind of coronavirus. No. Should we get the flu vaccine more so this year? Yep, absolutely. I'm a huge advocate for vaccines, and I'm a huge advocate for the influenza vaccine. So yes, if you have the opportunity to get the influenza vaccine, the earlier, the better. Hey, it's Tripper on Soph's account. Hi, Tripper. We have China, Hong Kong, Korea scaling up again. Factories are opening, coming back full op. Going to see major occurrence of COVID-19 or not in these countries. Korea and Hong Kong resurgences. It's hard to say. I don't think we have a clear picture of the full impact of COVID. I don't think that the reporting out of those places is completely accurate. And we know that the reporting here is not completely accurate because we have a lot of people here who have got flu-like symptoms and they're not testing. So in terms of a resurgence, we'll see peaks and troughs and peaks and troughs. So yeah, yes, Tripper, there'll be more cases coming out of those areas. Why are some people reluctant to accept that social distancing is so important to quash the virus? There's a lot of fear around understanding this virus and understanding changes to normal life. I just listened to a psychologist from the University of Melbourne speaking about COVID-19 and the psychological impacts and reasons why people aren't accepting. It's a change in mindset. People need to have a complete paradigm shift because they feel that they are not in the bell curve. So people feel that they sit outside the norm. We are a very egotistical society, and when you have the belief of I'll be fine, this isn't going to happen to me, you sit in the paradigm of being outside the bell curve. So people who feel that this is never going to happen to them, they're the people who believe that social distancing doesn't apply to them as well. So unfortunately, there needs to be a paradigm shift, Em, and as you and I both know, it's a difficult thing to get people to understand. Britt, what's the biggest clue to tell difference between known cold flu compared to COVID? Okay, I'll post a diagram of this after, but there's a really great diagram showing the severity of symptoms, and it compares COVID, normal flu, and cold. Basically, if you are sneezing, you don't have COVID. Okay, sneezing is a symptom of the common cold. Something that defines flu from COVID is severity of body aches, severity of body temperature fluctuations. I will post something that depicts that very clearly after this. Okay. California has the 5th biggest economy in the world, and we're doing a full shutdown, so it can't be done and should be done. Absolutely. Shut down Australia. I don't say that lightly, but drastic measures need to be taken to slow down the virus. Kobe, school holidays start next week for 2 weeks. As teachers, we won't see students for this time. They will come back in term 2. Cobes, schools will close. Schools will close probably for 6 months. The government is holding off on these types of announcements because they don't trust the public with being able to handle it responsibly. I'll tell you right now, schools will close for 6 months. Yes, Soph, has it hit our Surf Coast community yet? Yes, we have a COVID-19 positive case in Torquay. It will likely be announced tomorrow. And we also have COVID-19 cases like heat spots in Geelong. So yes, it's on the Surf Coast. Okay, Alex, AFLW, AFL, NRL games still going ahead, but that doesn't seem like good social distancing to me. Would you agree? Absolutely not. It is not social distancing, and it is those codes under the guise of believing that it's good for social or public morale to keep these games going. they're operating outside of guidelines. So if you see your heroes on TV high-fiving, you know, putting their arms around each other, what message does that send to the kids? It is not social distancing, and it is not complying. I think it's actually socially irresponsible. Jodie Coburn, what do you think about the media and what they are reporting? Do you support that it is going out to the wider community? Do you support? No. I think that I recommend everyone watch ABC. Okay, I think I've gotten to the end of my questions, everything that I can see here. I know we promised to have a wine, so cheers everybody. I hope you brought your wine along. Is it possible for you to put pictures into that little section there? I'd love to see who's joined me. There's 65 of you, I can see that. Okay, well, if you have any additional questions that you would like me to answer, please pop them under this event thing, and I will post the symptoms graph in a moment. Okay, have a good night, everybody.